Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video we're going to be doing some technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets as usual, but we also have some very important news that perhaps played a role in a little Bitcoin rally that we saw in the last 6 to 12 hours. There's been news breaking overnight that a very large investment management company named BlackRock, one company that has $6.3 trillion under management, you heard me correctly, $6.3 trillion under management, is taking interest in Bitcoin and is actually starting to research into ways that they could get involved in the Bitcoin ecosystem. We're going to be talking about all of that and more in today's video, guys, so if you enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, smashing the notification bell, because, guys, we do cryptocurrency videos every single day, and I wouldn't want you to miss any of them. But before we get right into it, there's something I have to say. We're going to talk about this more at the end of the video. I want to thank each and every single one of you because we did yesterday, in fact, cross 10,000 subscribers. Guys, that was awesome. I'm going to talk about that more at the end of the video, but right here, I just want to go ahead and thank everyone who's watching this video for helping me along the way with that. I didn't do it alone. Let's get right into it. Bitcoin is currently trading around $6,600, up around 4% in the last 24 hours. It does look like the market has set at least a temporary bottom down around 62.50, which I suspected it would because it looks like we're turning what the Bitcoin chart is starting to look very much like an inverted head and shoulders. We're going to talk about that in a little while. But over the last 24 hours, the cryptocurrency markets have been doing very well. 10x is almost 10xing. It's up not really. It's up about 67%. It's doing extremely well. The rest of the cryptocurrency market is likewise doing well, but not up 67%. A lot of the market is up around 5 to 10%. It is nice to see an overall green day. We don't see very many red if we scroll down here. I'm not even sure if we'll see any. No, okay, so we do see 5. Well, Tether doesn't count, so we see 4. We see 4 red and 100 cryptocurrency. So the cryptocurrency market is doing very well. Something we want to point out is that Bitcoin's volume is also doing very well. With this little spike that we saw yesterday, Bitcoin has had a lot of volume return to it, at least for the short term. We're seeing about $5 trillion in trading volume in the last 24 hours. And of course, Bitcoin's market capitalization is around 113 billion. Never went down to that $100 billion level that I was talking about. That would have been a little tense if it had. It would have been a little scary. Luckily, that didn't happen. Total market capitalization is hovering over $250 billion. Of course, I don't think we ever went below that, or, well, we did, but only for a little while. Let's go ahead and jump over to the chart. We're not just going to be talking about Bitcoin today. There's some things I want to show you on, I believe it's Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash that we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks. I want to go ahead and inform you guys about that. But the first thing we want to talk about is the last couple of days of price action here, because the last 2 videos have not actually been about daily investing, or this little thing popped up and said investing. That threw my off. We haven't been talking about the market, the daily market, in the last couple of days, but Bitcoin has been doing quite well. In fact, we seem to have set this little something, this little pattern right here. This would be known as a round bottom, where you have kind of just a gradual retracement down here to a bottom and then a gradual uptrend. We're seeing what looks like just a little bit of a round bottom, which is nice because Bitcoin has been seeing very sporadic movement over the last couple of weeks and really over the last couple of months, where we just see these gigantic green candlesticks come out of nowhere. And I don't know about you guys, but those things are kind of hard to trade because they happen in like 5 minutes. So seeing Bitcoin kind of come down here and set a temporary bottom, at least down around $6,200, and then have a nice little gradual uptrend where we got resistance up here around $6,350 that we were watching in the Discord yesterday, has been quite nice. That was much easier to trade than all these little stair-stepping patterns over here. But we did, in fact, see another gigantic green candlestick starting about 6 hours ago from when I'm recording this video. And a lot of people are attributing this to this news about BlackRock, but as far as I can tell, it seems like this news broke during this, a little bit after it, so I'm not totally convinced that this movement has everything to do with BlackRock. I think this was going to happen anyway because we were breaking resistance around 6,350 to 6,400, but the BlackRock news certainly helped. We'll be talking about that in a bit. But one thing that Bitcoin did is it broke all of its moving averages. It was getting support on some of these moving averages down here. We have the 20-hour exponential, the 21-hour, the 50-hour, the 100-hour, and the 200-hour. You can see the color codes up here. We have all those moving averages up here, and we've broken through all of them, including the 200-hour moving average, which was one that we were getting a little bit of resistance on that was lining up around $6,400. We did break above that. What we were looking at yesterday in the Discord server, which you should go join if you haven't already, this is where I was able to actually see this news of BlackRock come up like 15 minutes after it broke, because we have a bot there that actually posts news in the Discord when it automatically happens. So go join the Discord. Links in the description and the pinned comment. But one thing that we were looking at yesterday in the Discord server is this level of resistance that I've drawn here, around $6,350 to $6,400. We saw a lot of trading around this. We saw a little bit of well, we saw resistance right here in the last couple of days because we had resistance here, we had some bottoms over here. It was an important level that we wanted to get through, and luckily we did get through it. Let's go ahead and move out to the day chart and look at some more kind of overarching, more general patterns, specifically the inverse head and shoulders pattern that we've been talking Now, there are some people that are saying that this is already invalidated because of volume. I beg to differ. If it looks like an inverse head and shoulders pattern and the volume differs with that, sure, you can call it invalidated, but the fact of the matter is people are still going to trade it as if it's an inverse head and shoulders pattern, which means it still does have at least some power, and this is certainly looking to me like an inverse head and shoulders pattern. As we can see here on the left, we have the left shoulder, we have the head, and we have the right shoulder forming right here. We've talked about this pattern for like the last week. We've talked about how we wanted to see this form, and that's exactly what we're seeing. What I'd like to see Bitcoin do from here on out is come up here, get resistance, or excuse me, not get resistance, break this 50-day moving average right here. That'd be this red line coming down with resistance around $6,800. I'd like to see Bitcoin break that and then break its neckline, which is right here around $6,800 to $6,900. If you see Bitcoin close a daily candlestick above $6,900, you don't even need to have a chart open for this. If you see it close that above on like CoinMarketCap, if it's above there for 12 hours or more, especially if it breaks 7,000, that is a definitive breakout of the neckline, and that's a place that you would want to trade. I'm not going to tell you to trade there, but that would typically be where you would place a buy order and then actually trade an inverse head and shoulders pattern. The target for an inverse head and shoulders pattern like this would be about this tall, and then if you move this line over here, then we can see that the target for this inverse head and shoulders pattern, if we break out of it, is close to $8,000. So if we do break above the neckline and we do break resistance at the neckline and we do break out of this inverse head and shoulders pattern, we'd like to see Bitcoin go for somewhere around $7,500 to $8,000, which funnily enough actually lines up with resistance that we have here at the 100-day moving average. Guys, there are 3 levels that I'm really looking, well, 4 if you include the neckline. There are 4 levels I'm looking at. If we break all 4 of them, I think a bull run's starting. And those 4 levels are the 50-day moving average right here. I'm counting this on my hand as if you can see it, but you can't. The next one would be this neckline right here. I think we're definitely going to break these 2. The 100-day moving average, it's a little too early for me to say if we're going to break this or not. I think we will at least see some resistance up here when we get there. And the 4th one is the downtrend of our long-term descending triangle pattern. If we can break all 4 of those, and then 5, of course, would be the 200-day moving average, especially if we break all 5 of those and not just the first 4, I think a bull run is definitely going to be starting. And of course, other levels above that would be $10,000, which we had previous resistance at, and $12,000, which we also had previous resistance at. I'm looking at levels like that. That's what I'll be looking at, and that's what I'll be keeping you guys up to date on the channel about. Something I want to talk about very briefly, I'll probably do a video on this in a little while, is the Ethereum over US dollar and the Bitcoin Cash over US dollar charts. I talked about in a couple of videos about how I was very much wanting to see these 2 markets, or specifically not just these 2 markets, but the next top 5 altcoins to break the 20-day exponential and the 21-day simple moving average, and that's exactly what we've seen happen on Ethereum overnight. As we can see, it actually did break both of these moving averages, which is very, very nice, because lately these 2 moving averages have kind of been the difference between not life and death, but bullish and bearish, and Ethereum has finally gotten on board with Bitcoin as being bullish. And as we can see here, Bitcoin is also above its examples of its 21-day simple and the 20-day exponential. And Bitcoin Cash, as we can see here, has also broken it. I don't believe XRP over USD has, if nothing's changed in the last 2 minutes. Yeah, okay, so it hasn't. So I would like to see XRP get on board. If XRP continues to run and these guys can stay above the 21-day simple and their 20-day exponential, that's going to be very nice. I would very much like to see that continue to play out in a good way. So let's go ahead and move on to the news relating to BlackRock. We're going to start here at Cointelegraph. As you can see, I have about 1 billion tabs open here where we're going to be talking about different stuff. FN, which FN stands for Financial News. That's another website that we're going to be looking at in a second. BlackRock eyes Bitcoin futures. Market reacts to increased institutional interest. Now, a lot of news articles, I don't think all the time they go and check the chart to see if the market movement was actually due to the news. Sometimes it's not. In this case, I think it helped it a little bit, but since this... actually check when this was uploaded, not that I can tell because this has an updated date, not an actual published date. So I'm not totally convinced that this had everything to do with this market action, this price action. I think this is going to happen anyway, but it certainly didn't hurt. The world's largest exchange-traded fund provider, BlackRock, announced the formation of a working group to assess potential involvement in Bitcoin. That sentence right there is going to have very large ramifications, because if that group finds that BlackRock does have interest in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, hopefully, ecosystem, that could be a very big deal. And let me just give you one statistic to show you why that could be a big deal. If we come over to BlackRock's Wikipedia page and I double-check I know some people don't totally trust Wikipedia, and I don't blame you. I've double-checked the numbers I'm about to reference. BlackRock has $6.3 trillion AMU. As you can see right here, AMU. AMU stands for Assets Under Management. That means that they have $6.3 trillion of assets that they're managing. That could be stocks, that could be whatever. They're managing $6.3 trillion worth of value. That is a lot of money, and that puts them in the position as the largest investment management company on the planet, if I don't have my facts wrong. They are a very, very, very big company, and if they were to get into Bitcoin, that would be a very, very, very big deal. Now, something that's kind of interesting about BlackRock is that their CEO was actually quoted as kind of just trashing Bitcoin back in, I think it was October. We have the article back up here. Yeah, October the 13th, Friday the 13th in October. There you go. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink calls Bitcoin an index of money laundering. So it doesn't seem like the executives at BlackRock anyway seem to like Bitcoin. He's quoted as saying, Bitcoin just shows you how much demand for, Bitcoin just shows you how much demand for money laundering there is in the world, Fink. Fink, the head of the largest asset management firm in the world, said at an Institute of International Finance meeting, that's all it is. So he doesn't seem to like it, but kind of similar to how Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan have kind of changed their tune as Bitcoin has started to prove itself. They seem to be doing a little bit of a 180, and they seem to be taking some interest. It seems that FN of London, this article was actually the article that broke this. They didn't, as far as I can tell, BlackRock didn't actually like announce this on their Twitter or something. Some spokespeople from BlackRock actually told some people at FN London this, and they actually broke the story. I want to talk about, as we wrap the video up here, about how important this is, because we've seen a lot of increased institutional investment in Bitcoin coming in over the last year or so. We've of course seen Bitcoin futures, and we can debate all day about what effect that's had on the Bitcoin market. But the fact of the matter is, if we continue to see more, well, it's not a fact technically, but it's my opinion, but excuse me, got the hiccups. If we continue to see more institutional investment and more institutional interest come into the market, what that is going to do is it's not only going to bring in a lot more valuation into the market, because if you have literally trillions of dollars looking at the market, of course you're going to see more volume and more valuation come into the market. Not only is it going to help inflate prices, it's also going to help validate the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency ecosystem, which would help push the SEC in the direction of approving a Bitcoin ETF. Let me just lay out a pure speculative example of what could happen in the next year or so. Let's say that the VanEck ETF and the SolidX ETF that they're partnered with, that goes through. The SEC approves it before September 24th. I believe that's their deadline. Before September 24th and August 10th, but they can extend it if you don't know that. Before September 24th, they approve the ETF, and then that'll be going live in Q1 of 2019. If that happens, not only will that bring a lot of institutional money into the market, if that happens, let's also say that BlackRock decides that, okay, well, the SEC seems to like Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and let our investors get into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, or rather Bitcoin, not cryptocurrencies, not yet. And they were actually talking about blockchain. I shouldn't say cryptocurrencies. They're talking specifically about blockchain and Bitcoin. If that happens, that is a lot of money that could be pouring into the market, and that helps to validate Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies for not only institutional investors and accredited investors, but that also helps to give it kudos and credence so that retail investors feel a little bit more safe investing in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now let's wrap the video up by showing you some statistics to give you an idea of just how big BlackRock is, just to try and give you a little bit of perspective as to how big this company is. Now, the news itself that is broken so far isn't that big, but the news that could be coming out of this could be very huge indeed. BlackRock has $6.3 trillion under management. Now, guys, it's kind of hard for the human brain to compute, well, let's say 10,000. I have no idea how to compute 10,000 subscribers. I certainly can't compute the number 6.3 trillion. So let's get a little bit of perspective. You guys know I'm a big fan of perspective. If you come over to the Wikipedia page that lists countries by their nominal GDP, you'll find that the United States has around $20 trillion in GDP. That is the gross domestic product of the United States. You could say that that's how much money the U.S. makes in a year. That's kind of massively oversimplified, but you could kind of say that. The entire European Union has about $17 trillion in GDP. China is the second largest world economy at $12 trillion. The European Union doesn't count because a union is not a unified state yet, but Japan has $5 trillion. So if, for example, BlackRock's asset under management was their GDP, which obviously it's not, that they are completely different figures. If that were the case, BlackRock would be the third largest economy on the planet. Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of money. That's a big deal. Let's go over here to Visual Capitalist, and this will show us the size of different stock markets in the world. The New York Stock Exchange is the largest stock exchange on the planet. There's about $18.5 trillion of value in the New York Stock Exchange. All stock markets on the planet are worth just under $70 trillion. The entire United States stock market is worth around $30 trillion. And BlackRock manages $6.3 trillion. So they manage, if all of that is in the stock market, they manage about 10% of stocks and everything else that you would consider a stock that would be on a stock exchange on the entire planet. So that is how big of a deal this is. If they decide to get into Bitcoin, if they decide to get into Bitcoin and blockchain technology, and they decide to continue moving into altcoins or something, this is pure speculation. If they do, that is a big deal because we can have these institutional investors come in and help validate the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency ecosystem. We've talked about that already. I think you guys get the point. So before we wrap the video up, there's something that I want to mention. I talked about this earlier on in the video, and that would be a milestone that we hit yesterday. Guys, I was like freaking out when this happened. I watched it happen live. I do, in fact, have a screenshot of this saying CryptoJeb 10,000 subscribers exactly. I don't know what to say. Thank you guys. If you guys are a subscriber, whether you were here before or after that, most of you were here before that, of course. Whether you were here before that or after that, I want to thank each and every single one of you. I don't even know how to express in words what that means to me. Thank you. Thank you. I know I'm getting mushy, but I can't help it. Thank you so much. We're going to continue to bring you guys good content on the channel here. I want to thank you all for watching this video. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below about the TA that we've done in today's video. Where do you think Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are going in the next couple of weeks and months? Do you think we're going to break those 4 levels of resistance that I laid out? Do you think BlackRock getting interested in Bitcoin and the blockchain industry is a very big deal? Do you think I'm overblowing it? What do you think? Tell me your comments. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Join the Discord server if you haven't already. Linked down there. We have that auto news bot, which I absolutely love. I use it helping me research these videos. But like I said just a second ago, guys, I want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.